there's this interesting overlap between digital marketing and entertainment and the resistance, the anti-Trump Democrat types and the wokeness. And so that's why you see every major brand change their logo to a rainbow in June, because they're like, this is what people like. But most people probably just shrug and say, I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that's cool, I guess. It's not like they're actually going to make more money by doing this. So it's interesting that these companies that toe that woke line think it's the right path forward. It's not going to make them money. And I have a story for you. Check this out. This is from Business Insider. Dollar Shave Club has laid off all of its staff at men's lifestyle site MEL, source says, and is looking for a rescue buyer. Now, on the surface, this doesn't sound like a get woke, go broke story, but I assure you it is. They say, Dollar Shave Club is laying off the staff of Mel Magazine, its men's lifestyle and culture website. A person with the direct knowledge of the matter said. Mel staffers were informed of the layoffs on Wednesday. The publication is seeking a buyer and may face shutting down if it doesn't find one. It was unclear how many people were affected. Mel's masthead lists about 20 people plus 16 contributors, they say. After 6 years of successful partnership and transforming the men's health and media spaces for the better, you see that? Mel and Dollar Shave Club's financial relationship will come to an end in 60 days, editor-in-chief Josh Skollmeyer said in a statement. He added, Mel will stop publishing effective Wednesday, and the complete focus will now be on finding the right new owner. This has always been a part of the plan for our brand-backed partnership, and we're incredibly proud of what we've built together. You got to take a look at this one very important point. They say transforming the men's health and media spaces for the better. What do you think that means? Transforming it for the better.
It means making it less male.
Yes. Getting woke. Look at this. Go to melmagazine.com. And the headline story.
Do I have to?
No.
The pressure to act like a man starts in preschool. Boys as young as 3 are more than happy to police the toy box and make sure that no little dude walks away with a Barbie. I don't care. What does this have to do with men? Show me an article where it's like eating steak and fish will make your muscles bigger or something stereotypically dude-like, I guess. That's the thing.
Give me 3-year-olds on testosterone replacement therapy, and then I'll agree with you.
Then they have this one down here. There's finally a name for Trump's murderous masculinity.
Whoa.
Who are they marketing to?
Women.
Frail, low-T liberal men who can't grow beards?
First of all, to say that Trump is a vision of masculinity is just incredibly misled.
Yeah, seriously.
Tiny hands, possibly fake hair, tanning lotion on the face. He's just like an out-of-shape master's level bodybuilder at best. Like coming in at 60 thinking he looks good in the mirror, and then he steps out on stage against real bodybuilders. He's like, oh boy,
Trump's
I'm out of my league.
a lot of things. But what conservative or Trump supporter was coming out preaching about Trump's masculinity?
Yeah.
I've
No,
never,
like-
not once.
Not once.
No. Like I've heard talk about, working class populism, protecting the worker, borders, national security. But I've not seen that group of like staunch MAGA hat wearing guys being like, Trump is our vision of masculinity.
There's like pictures of him, artwork where he looks ripped and cut.
Yeah, I have seen those with the hawk behind him.
he's
The
ripped.
raptor.
I love it when Ben Garrison draws Trump because he makes him, super ripped and like strong. But I think they all kind of get the joke of it. Trump is he's an old man, and he's very out of shape.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this, I'd be willing to bet that compared to your average person in this country, Donald Trump, how can I phrase this properly? It is extremely unlikely that Donald Trump has ever had to walk a mile. That's it.
Money.
I mean, look, he was born into wealth. He's rich. I'm sure he's walked. He golfs, right? So I'm sure that he's walked periods.
He rides most of the time.
But now as an old guy, but I'm sure at some point in his life he did walk a mile. I'm not saying he never did. That would be ridiculous. He doesn't have to.
Right.
And so whereas a normal person might be like, I got to go to the store and I got to walk and carry a cart with me, Trump walks outside and there's a car waiting for him. It's probably always been that way.
Yeah.
So he's not a vision of masculinity. I will say this. What's the right word for Trump? I don't want to say like he's a tough guy.
Pink.
Kind of. No. Like
Obese?
aggressive.
That too, maybe.
He's
He is
aggressive and arrogant.
Mentally, let's say he's masculine.
Sure.
Maybe mentally
maybe
he's masculine.
Maybe that's what they're trying to say.
Oh.
But I don't even know if I agree with that. I'd say he was. I guess if you say aggressive behavior and arrogance.
I mean, I think to be a success in business, you have to have I don't know if to term it a masculine mentality is wrong. It's just the idea of grift, the idea of innovation, the idea of cutting deals. Those are traditionally associated with male values, but they're not. You can see by the success that female business owners have. It's something that can be emulated. Success in business can be emulated.
So just to bring it back to the core issue, I guess, there are certain things that men stereotypically like. And I suppose the argument from these brands is that we transformed it for the better. Because men shouldn't be masculine, it's toxic or whatever. I guess that's their attitude. They didn't transform it for the better. Nobody was reading their magazine, and they're losing their principal sponsor that funded them because nobody wants to read this stuff. Look, I don't read Men's Health, and there's a bunch of channels. There was one, we did a segment on, I can't remember what we were talking about. We were talking about men not getting, we were talking about the Try Guys. You know the Try Guys?
No.
So this was a group of dudes at BuzzFeed, and they got their testosterone levels checked. Huh. And their testosterone levels were lower than that of an 85-year-old man.
Okay.
Now that's sad. I'm not trying to rag on these guys. I'm like, dude, if you go to the doctor and you get your T levels checked and they're like, yo, you're 25 and your testosterone is lower than that of an 85-year-old man, you might have a serious problem.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe cancer or something. There might be some serious hormonal imbalance.
Prostate, possibly.
And so everyone's making fun of him. Like, nah, that's a medical issue, dude. It's not a joke. I can't believe they published this story. But we had this one guy. He's got a YouTube channel. I think it's called More Plates, More Dates.
Yeah.
Seems like a cool dude. He was like actually adding to the conversation. He runs the video and he's like, there's some good points they made. I thought it was great. Some criticism, some constructive criticism. But a lot of the comments were ragging on us. They were like, oh, these guys don't exercise, don't work out or whatever. And it's like I have 2 skate parks in my house. I go skate like almost every single day. I should lift, I suppose. But I look at these conversations and I wonder, I think that the split here is, there are these people that believe in constructivism, and then there's essentialism. And the constructivists are like, we can make a men's magazine telling men that they should play with Barbie, and they'll want to read it.
Right.
And then there's masculine dudes who lift and are super ripped, talking about how great they are, and making fun of us or whatever, because there are things that I think guys tend to be into. I think the issue is, look, there's some social construction, like constructivism, sure, but I think dudes have testosterone. Mm-hmm. I think they have more fast twitch muscles. They have more bone density, more collagen. And there's a reason, and guys are probably going to be predisposed to certain activities. When you make a magazine built against all of that, don't be surprised when you collapse.
They're trying to go against nature and be like, here's what you should be. And you're saying naturally a man is not supposed to be that.
I don't, look, it's hard to say naturally, but that's kind of the gist. It's more like a tendency.
Right.
Men have a tendency in a certain direction towards certain activities. Like, look, guys have high testosterone, which means they're going to build muscle mass faster. Prenatal testosterone results in more fast twitch muscle development, which means they have more burst energy, can sprint, can jump, can run faster. You can see this all in the scientific data. So why would you make a magazine critical of all of those things that are physically, ingrained in men?
People are trying to jump on this thing where they think it's the right thing to do and they think it's going to succeed. But your old catchphrase, get woke, go broke, is so applicable in so many forms. I haven't seen anybody. Okay, successful comedian, Patton Oswalt. He's woke.
But he wasn't always.
No, he was edgy for years.
Right. And then now, what's he done lately? He's still working.
He's around. I think he's like, he's a step in the Hollywood cog. He works. He's there. I don't know if, a lot of comics are fans of his. And then there's, because he's successful. Yeah. He's also got these horrible rumors surrounding him, obviously. But it's like, I think that happens with anybody that gets any modicum of success. There's nothing inherently wrong with masculinity. But I think we're being fed that there is. You're a masculine guy.
I think there's tremendous positivity in masculinity. I think masculinity is a tremendous and amazing thing. And I'll tell you, there's one thing that proves it: the demand and the desire from feminists to make women more masculine. That's
how so?
They want. So if you look at traditional gender roles between what is masculine and what is feminine, the men were the hunters, the gatherers, the athletes, the soldiers. Feminists want women in combat. They want women as CEOs. They want women in the military-industrial complex. They want women's sports to get more prominence. You got Megan Rapinoe saying, we fill stadiums, we deserve this money. They want more prominence for female athletes doing physical activities, which are not traditionally feminine roles. You can argue the gender roles were wrong. Sure, that's fine, make that argument. If you look at the traditional gender roles, you can argue they're wrong and want to break them down. And so that means the things you are encouraging of women are traditionally masculine. You think those things shouldn't be just traditionally masculine, but you are not advocating for men to be more feminine. Or I should say, for the most part. Where's the big, billboard announcement or like magazine cover story about the CEO who quit to like raise his kids? There are stories like this, for sure. But I mean, like, we constantly hear about the new female CEOs. We constantly hear about women's sports and women.
Right.
We keep hearing that women need to enter the world that was traditionally masculine. That was traditionally a male gender role. And they say it's because it shouldn't be that way. Okay, fine argument. Make the argument. We'll talk about it. Where is the equal and opposite reaction saying men shouldn't be in the workplace, men should be at the home with the kids? That's something that men should do. Because think about it this way. No one is saying men should leave the CEO position. Men shouldn't be in the workplace. Men should, like, where's the magazine that says men belong in the home with the kids? Men should be doing this. When they talk about women and the role of women and wives and girlfriends and things like this, they say women should be CEOs. They say men can be homemakers, but they're not saying they should be homemakers.
Right.
So whatever it is that men have traditionally done, things associated with masculinity, physical activity, combat, being the CEO, they want women to do. And they are, at the same time, not giving the same amount of energy to the traditionally feminine roles of nurturing. Like, you gotta think about this too. Like, when you think about what femininity is, I'm not going to pretend to be an anthropologist or a sociologist, but I'll say men, my view of like men, it's like a guy running into a burning building to carry out the kids and save their lives. Men go and hunt the wild boar or whatever to bring food back for the tribe. They get the job and they go out and they go on dangerous missions. And there is that, I guess there are many people who refer to it as male expendability. And this is because of, women have children and you only need one man to reproduce, but you need many women. Then when you look at traditional femininity, what do? They create people. They literally gestate them, birth them, and then raise them and instill them with values. Now, fathers do this as well, but the mothers are the builders of people in society and cultures. That's what femininity is, and it's extremely important. And I think it's fair to say when you see many traditional, commentators will say the mother's role is in many ways more important, because you need that nurturing role to be there to protect and grow people. That's being left behind and ignored. I wonder, is it an issue of encouraging people not to have kids and families because of overpopulation, or why it is, or why it emerged? I honestly don't know, but there is a tendency right now to disregard the traditional feminine role in society while promoting the traditional masculine role. That says to me that society greatly favors masculinity over femininity, and I disagree with that.
Right. I think part of becoming masculine and embracing that is that when you get to a high enough level of that, you achieve this level of, okay, I'm confident enough with where I am as a man, as a provider, as somebody that supports a family, that then, okay, now I can let these traditional aspects of femininity into my life, where I can help take care of my kid and I can do all this stuff. So I think that it's an evolving too. People don't want equal rights. Nobody wants equal rights.
They want power.
People want extraordinary rights. I think that's what the attempt is. When I watch, when you see some upspurts of BLM or some upspurts of feminism, it's like, okay, this is not about achieving equality. It's about achieving a higher up status. That's Definitely. What I see when I look at it from the outside.
Absolutely. It's power.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people, especially the woke people, who have found a path to power lies in victimhood. And that's hence you see the oppression Olympics, and then you see just ridiculous businesses and attempts to make money off controversy and make TV shows that are overly woke. And it's just awful cringe.
Victimhood is a currency for them, for comics in the business. We had a woman that, our fans made a joke about, and then she's like, these are rape threats. They're coming to my house to it. No one ever did any of those things. Someone made an off-color joke. And her victimhood helped propel her to the next level. I mean, she used to have 5,000 followers. She's got 60,000 now. Then she'll make a joke about, I hope Trump dies or something. And then then people go after her and she'll be like, oh, but look what happened. Some guy called me a DYKA. Am I allowed to say that?
No, not on YouTube. But
Okay.
I find
But
something
I spelled it.
really curious. Like, I constantly hear from these journalists that they get emails, like these female journalists get emails from guys who call them awful names and say, you're awful fake news. And they use all the slurs in the book. And I'm like, I wonder who writes those emails. You know what I mean? Like, you get this female journalist who works at the New York Times, and then she posts a screenshot saying, here's an email I just received. And I'm like, dude, I get emails like that too. I just don't post them.
Yeah, I get death threats. I don't post them.
But they know
Because-
it's currency in their tribe.
Because
So-
then we're hypocrites if we post them. We go, hey, look, someone just threatened it. Literally, I have a screenshot of someone saying it would be really funny if some of your loved ones died. And I know who the guy is. I know he's a real guy, but I don't post it. Because if I post it, then people are like, well, you should take it. You're a big, bad comedian. You should be able to take the death threats. But the other side is not supposed to.
It's yes. And I also think...
So where's the equality?
Is anybody on the side of freedom, maturity, going to be like, I'm so sorry for you. Oh, let me donate to your GoFundMe because someone said mean words. They're going to be like, why are you posting this?
Yeah.
Like, we know you're strong enough to be resilient towards this stuff, and we don't care.
Yeah.
On their side, the way it works is there are large swaths of people who don't know and don't pay attention. Right. So here's a really good example. We had Jody Shaw on the show the other day, right? Are you familiar with her story?
No.
She worked at Smith College, and she quit and filed a complaint over hostile work environment because they kept, criticizing her for being white and telling her to talk about her race and negatively impacting her job based on race. And she was saying how she didn't complain about it at first because she just thought it was normal and white people don't complain about this stuff. And then eventually she realized it was really eating away inside and that she couldn't stand being attacked based on race, and she did something about it. So what happens is that first part of the story she told where she said, you're just supposed to accept it. You're not supposed to complain about this. This is what these journalists and these woke cancel culture people make the social currency off of. Regular people who aren't paying attention to politics and don't know. They hear a story about a journalist who's getting death threats from Trump supporters, poisons the well for Trump supporters. Then there'll be a Trump supporter saying like, a reasonable, rational guy with a MAGA hat. And they'll be like, it's you're the people doing that. And it's because these individuals have no idea what's going on, don't read the news, don't follow the culture. And then they're fed these stories. They just believe them. The weapons work. Now, for you don't have access to the New York Times platform. So you posting that screenshot won't do anything for you. It does everything for them because they have access to legacy media and these powerful institutions, which is why I tweeted earlier, I think I found a solution to help unify the left and the right.
Okay.
I think we can get the Bernie Sanders supporters and the socialists and the Trump supporters and conservatives together in the same room if we just propose one policy change. Taxing Hollywood millionaires and billionaires and legacy media millionaires and billionaires at 90% of their income. Because then the leftists are like, tax the rich, I'll take it. And the conservatives are like, oh, the Hollywood liberal types in the media?
Yeah.
Do it.
That's a good idea. I've always advocated for tax the poor. I think that taxing the poor is a great way to
the
get
Bloomberg
people
policy.
to hustle, pick yourself up by your bootstraps, tax the poor. And it's a great hoodie,
That's
too.
policy.
Well, Bloomberg actually proposed that.
Did he?
Michael Bloomberg said, poor people spend money on stupid things. I'm paraphrasing. And he was like, so you tax them, and then we can better spend that money for them.
Yeah.
I think that is insane. Okay, first and foremost, the first part I think is true for everybody. People buy dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I look at like these yachts from these rich guys, and I'm like, why you have that? Come on. Elon Musk is doing it right. What did he do? He built a spaceship.
Yeah.
Right on, brother. He's building a spaceship and electric cars.
The
All
yacht
cool ones.
of the skies, they call it.
Yes.
But there's a functional purpose to scientific research towards going to Mars, and it's helping all of humanity, this research he's doing. Then you look at some of these other billionaires and millionaires, and they're like, I have a large boat. It's like, okay, I guess it's nice and comfortable.
It's only for
but that's
them.
buying something dumb. right? And then you look at these people who win the lottery and they buy like golden statues of themselves.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would you do that? I guess you got to put your money somewhere, but
these are lottery winners. You see the people that go in and
people
buy
buy
the
dumb
lottery
things.
tickets. You're like, oh, if these people win the lottery.
Well, in recent history, people who win the lottery have learned and started hiring wealth management, wealth managers and things like that. The point is, it doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, people buy dumb things.
Yeah.
So Bloomberg has a good point in that poor people are buying dumb things. But bro, you want to be the despot to tell people they can't buy a sandwich they want to eat. That's nuts. And he did it. He wanted to ban large sodas.
Yeah.
His idea was
remember that.
we take all their money away and then we give them what we know they need.
Yeah.
Sure,
So
I
like
guess.
food stamps, EBT
Yep.
cards, that type of thing.
Yeah,
my
that
notion
sounds like communism.
is that if people knew that they were being, say you're at a minimum wage job, you're making $14 an hour in a grocery store, not minimum wage. And then maybe you're making $26,000 a year, but you're in this lowest tax bracket and 50% of that goes to taxes. But if you get to $35,000, they're going to drop that rate to 10% or 15%.
But it only works for the money above. So like the first $13,000, I think, is tax free.
Yeah.
I think you still got to pay like Medicare tax or whatever. Then from 13 to 35, it's like 12%. Then from 35 to like 100 and something, I think, or to like 80, it's like 21%.
Then it goes up to 30.
So you're not actually losing money by making more money.
Right.
A lot of people think that. But what I do think for, what's the saying? It's like only 47% of Americans actually pay income tax.
Yeah.
And that's because a lot of people are at the poverty level where they don't actually have to pay anything or they get a refund back. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.